All right, so let's talk about the perfect takeaway. And really, we're just talking about one thing that basically everybody makes a mistake in the takeaway here. Most all players don't get the proper weight shift, which I'll go over in a second. The hands start to go out, and then that sucks the club to the inside. Then there's a giant loop. We come down a little bit steeper than we'd like, and we stand up out of our posture and hit. That all stems from the takeaway. And what is it that we're trying to do? What is it we see with the pros? Well, there's a proper weight shift to start the swing. The club head stays a little bit more outside the hands and parallel or on plane. And then the face is on plane also, or square to the plane, which is a little bit different than what most people are telling you to do. And I'll explain that too. Now, once you do that, and you start to get the club working in a much better position, then it's easy to shallow it out from the inside and to hit that nice, solid shot. So let's take it from the top. The number one thing is the weight shift. You see, if my weight stays still, then I'm just having to place the hands and arms. I'm trying to find this perfect spot, and that's really not going to work. If my weight stays to the left, again, that's tending to suck the club to the inside, and I'm way off plane. Not going to work. What we're going to have, and what you see with every single tour player, so if you put them on pressure plates, every single swing starts with a weight shift to the right. I prefer to start with slightly more weight, maybe 55% on the right foot, 45 on the left foot. That helps you to get the tilt, the slight head behind the golf ball that you need. It also helps you to get that weight ready to shift to the right to start the backswing, because the weight is fully to the right once the club gets about here in the backswing. Then we're going to shift left and swing down. Now that sounds complicated, but the golf swing is just this. Imagine that I'm swinging a heavy pail of water. I'm going to shift my weight to the right, swing it this way, shift my weight to the left, swing it that way. So it's just this kind of back and forth weight shift type motion, and you can kind of see my body shifting the weight and then the arms go, shifting the weight and then the arms go. Same thing happens in a golf swing. You'll even notice in my swing, if I show a slow motion video here, I'll tap my left foot up in the air. I have no idea that I do this. I've just always done it because that's instinctively how I'm going to get my weight to my right side. So I'm kind of unloading my left side and going to my right to start my swing. I suggest you don't have to keep the tap or anything, but I suggest you do something similar to get your weight going to the right early. Now from here, the club starts to go to the inside. And what we talked about is, it's not just the club. The club is not actually the cause of this. It's actually the hands. You see, when the hands go out, the club is naturally going to go in. So if I was to draw a line on my hands here, on the front of my hands at address, I want my hands to stay inside that line, and my club is naturally going to go a little bit more outside of them. Right? So if I feel like there's a wall here that my hands are on, I want to feel like my hands stay inside that wall the whole backswing there, or the whole takeaway there, and the club stays on this side of the wall. Exaggerate a little bit. I promise that you won't. Almost everybody I see does this. Hands outside the wall, club goes in. If you can feel like you're doing hands way in and club out, it's going to look perfectly on plane once you start to do that. So that's the key there. The hands are the secret to getting that to go in. Now, all of that, even what we're talking about with the hands, is really a byproduct of shoulder turn. If I turn the shoulders properly, the hands will just naturally go to the inside like that instead of jutting out. Here's what I mean by that. If I take this club and put it across my shoulders, let's imagine that there's a laser shooting out of the butt end of the club here. And as I turn my shoulders, it's going to trace down this target line. That's why I have this club on the ground. It's symbolizing the golf ball to the target line in the distance. If I go ahead and put a club across my shoulders and trace that target line, so I get a little weight shift, and then I trace that line with my shoulders, if my arms are just an extension of that, so if my arms were out here, and I let my arms trace this target line, when I do my takeaway, I'd be about 45 degrees here, and if I just let my hands drop, they would be inside my toe line. So that's this club here. You see, if I rotate my shoulders and just let my hands follow along, the hands go to the inside, the club tracks on plane. If I don't rotate my shoulders at all and I try to move my hands back, the natural way to move them back is by going out and the club goes in. So really, the hands and the swing plane and all of that stems down to what we just talked about in the beginning. A little weight shift to the right, and then the arms and shoulders tracking that target line. If I can get that weight shift, let my shoulders track that target line. I'm just letting my hands kind of go along for the ride, and they're naturally going to be on plane there. Now, that's going to get you way better coming on a plane. That's going to get you in a position to where you're getting this club going more out, and it's going to shallow out a little more naturally. The final piece, and this is just a little bit of a pet peeve, I really don't mind if you do it either way, but I'll see a lot of people trying to keep this club face really closed, or sometimes what people say match the spine. Well, it doesn't make too much difference, because when you get to the top of the swing, most people want this club much more on plane, or the face of the club kind of matching the swing plane there. So when I do that, now the club's going to be totally different at the top. So it doesn't really make much difference if it's here or here. I tend to like to have the club a little bit more toe up than most people do, or that most people would say you should do, because when I look at the greatest players of all time, they're much more common to be in that toe up position. But again, that's just to get you at a better position at the top of the swing. What I find is a lot of times when you feel like you're closed, people will tend to get across the line a lot at the top. Doesn't mean you have to do that. That's just one of the things that I see quite a bit. So again, to recap, a little weight shift, let the shoulders turn, that pulls the hands in and lets the club stay out. You'll be perfectly on plane. That's going to get you on plane at the top of the swing. And then from there, what do? So if we make a good backswing, we are much more likely to make a good downswing and to be on plane in the downswing. But there's something that I find, honestly, that most players get wrong, and it makes the downswing really tough to do also. And that's just the way that we've been taught to square the club. And if you've been following me for any length of time, you probably realize, you've probably heard about the anti-roll method, you've heard me talk about it. I may even sound like a bit of a broken record, if you know what I mean, where I'm bringing this anti-roll method up all the time. Well, why am I doing that? Well, if we start to roll the forearms to square up this club face, we're going to tend to back out away from the golf ball, lose our posture. We're going to tend to cast and to flip even a little bit of a chicken wing through impact. And quite frankly, I just don't want you to do that. I want you to play good golf. I want you to have a great round. And I want you to understand what the anti-roll method is so that you can get a ton of lag, stay in your posture, compress the golf ball, have great extension through the shot, and do all the things that the pros do. So I'll play a preview of that anti-roll method video here in just 1 second. If you want to see the full video and learn what this is all about, learn how to do all these great things that I was talking about in the downswing, just go ahead and click the iCard up on your screen. And don't worry, if you don't see the iCard, just go down to the link below in the description. You'll also get instant access there. I can't wait to share with you the anti-roll method. I know it's going to be a game changer and help you really get to the next level on your ball striking. So here's the bottom line. If you've been taught to roll the club in the early downswing, that causes the shaft to get steep. And that steep club causes all your problems. It causes you to hit it way behind the big hitters and way inconsistent with your quality of strike. So you're in the tall grass and the trees and the hazards all day long. Now the great news is this. There's really only 2 pieces that you need to know to fix all these problems. The first one is we need to learn the proper way to square up the club face. Instead of rolling the forearms and getting steep, there's another way that the pros do this. Once you learn this right way to square up the club face, then you can shallow out from the inside and everything starts to fit together. Now I'm going to teach you this right now in what I call the anti-roll method. You may also hear this called the motorcycle move or the tour twist, but let's walk through exactly how to do that. Now what I want you to do is go ahead and go kind of in the last parallel in the downswing. So here, I want my hips to go ahead and be opening up. I want my club to be parallel with the ground, and I want my hands to be in front of my right thigh. Now, when I take my grip, you're going to notice that when I do this, the club face is basically straight up and down. So if I'm looking at it from this angle, you'll see the face is straight up and down, and my logo of my glove is pointed out in front of me. Now from there,